For years, we heard that Tether is a looming black swan that's just here waiting to implode. And everyone is still questioning, like, all right, well, if it has been, backed by nothing and it's just sitting here, when is it going to implode? Well, in this video, I'm going to be addressing this. And one of the biggest secrets here is ultimately the fact that it has massive ties back to the US with the, biggest treasury holders in the world, Tether being one of them. But beyond that, there's also even more information coming out around it. But I also will outline the elite's secret agenda when it comes to Tether and their plan of action going forward. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So I saw a great post come up on my timeline. It was quoted by Crypto Insight UK, and I've said for the longest time that the reason USDT is still here is because it's one of the biggest treasury holders in the world. And I have also stated this on multiple occasions. A lot of people in my Discord keep asking me, like, why is Tether still here? Is Tether safe? And I've always said, Tether is not safe. Tether is not a stablecoin that I would feel confident holding on the sidelines long term. USDC, sure, it's not a bad, stablecoin to hold, but the backing behind USDC is still not significant, still not strong enough for me to be, very comfortable holding large amounts of Circle either. But we have here that larger than most countries, and no one else wants to buy the US debt at scale right now. And yes, Tether is one of the largest treasury holders in the world at a time where no one wants the US debt. So this is exactly why Tether continues to still be propped up, and it's still the reason why Tether is here. But also, Subjective Views posted a great video clip on this, and we have Tether is a CIA operation to send T-bills. Again, I'm going to outline the fact that Bitcoin itself, when we think about Satoshi was not some random guy out there creating Bitcoin to overthrow the government. It was also not the answer to the 2008 crisis like Bitcoin maxis want you to believe. Bitcoin was a test. It was a tested digital currency made by and orchestrated by the government. I've talked about this on multiple occasions. There's a lot of proof behind this. There's a lot of information out there as well. If you guys did want to do the research, you guys are more than welcome to. But here we have decentralized the ownership and decision-making of selling the US debt. Check this out.
Our stable coins and their concept is changing what central banks, what investment banking know about liquidity. I mean, when you look at liquidity models for investment banks, for central banks, to what extent do you think that we need new liquidity models, liquidity strategies to cope with the existence of stable coins?
Well, let me give you the example of USDT, right? Because it's very, very real. So with USDT, we have more than $100 billion in US Treasury bills, in short-term US Treasury bills. Think about China had around $2 trillion 2-3 years ago in US Treasury bills, and now has $700 billion, give or take. A company like Tether, that is a private company, has more US Treasury bills holdings compared to UAE itself, compared to Australia and Spain.
So we're talking about countries here.
Exactly. If we are not a country, right? So it's quite interesting how it's turning out. But let's think about what does it mean, right? If the US government sells its debt to counterparties, the biggest counterparties are countries. Countries have a Minister of Finance and they have a committee. They can decide to start selling holdings of USD bills, right? So what Tether does, and not many people think about it, is we have decentralized the ownership and decision-making of selling the US debt. We have 350 every time a person in Argentina purchases some USDT, we take that money and we buy T-bills. So we have 350 million. The decision to sell T-bills is decided by 350 million people.
And you're not a government.
We are not a government, but also we are just a proxy. So we are not taking the decision. They are deciding. So it's much, much stronger. So we are helping the US dollar to become stronger, more resilient, more decentralized. It's something that is unprecedented, and I'm really proud that Tether was able to start that.
I think.
And you gotta love when everyone is trying to claim that Tether is so safe that you should hold Tether. Tether is doing great things around the space. Guys, this is ridiculous. It is a smoke and mirror operation to make you believe that Tether is safe, that you should, put your wealth into Tether once you sell your crypto assets. This is nonsense. This is ridiculous. And Tether is a government operation to wipe individuals out, because I do believe that Tether is just a ticking time bomb in this space. And also, by the way, over here, big shout to Smoke Dog, we have MiCA regulations set to transform cryptocurrency landscape. MiCA's implementation is expected to bring legitimacy and regulatory clarity to the crypto industry. The new regulations will also require crypto exchanges to delist non-compliant stablecoins. Non-compliant digital assets have no future. They will be delisted and their trading volume will plummet. Although this change will be disruptive at first, as outlined below, stability will soon follow as new regulatory protections take effect. And here you guys have the full breakdown of this. EU's MiCA regulations set to transform cryptocurrency landscape. They outline, how, this implementation is expected to bring legitimacy and regulatory clarity to the entire industry. And they want to delist these non-compliant stablecoins and assets as well. Over here we have from Mr. Man XRP quoting this: with the delisting of certain non-compliant stablecoins, a harmonization across the European SEPA can begin to form. And here we have harmonizing virtual currency use in the EU, the evolution and impact of MiCA regulation. MiCA is one of the biggest things that I've been focused on, because I've told you guys on multiple occasions that the EU is starting this fire. It is going to spread so quick. Once you have one major framework, all of the other nations can go off of that and build upon it. And that's why we are going to see a global harmonization of regulation when it comes to crypto and the entire industry, because we can't have fragmented regulatory frameworks. This is also why I look at what the G20 is doing with the FSB, with the BIS, and even the IMF, and also with the World Bank. They are planning this global framework to harmonize crypto regulatory clarity. And when we think about this, all right, is Tether going to be included? Well, let's build upon this. Over here, we have the ESMA. The EU regulator has been issuing surveys to stablecoin providers to see if they meet regulations. Tether's USDT has been banned from the EU region already. Check this out.
Too many.
But I think this is being tackled by ESMA, and ESMA is already sounding member states to understand how the next few months will evolve and how the scene will act out.
On that, actually, because that very point was made during multiple working group, and we've seen ESMA actually going on the data collection and issuing survey and say, okay, if you think that you're MiCA equivalent, show me. And every NCA had to answer and say, those are the provision. This is how I implemented
this is what I'm
those
thinking.
type of requirements. So we feel pretty confident with our own framework, but we'll have to see. We're not the final decision maker. We're hoping that passporting will not be available to the grandfathering, but we have to see. I mean, time will tell, literally.
Okay, let's
Too many.
And this is the big thing that you must focus on, is the fact that these regulatory bodies around the world are preparing. They are not just sitting around doing nothing. When it comes to the US, everyone is still focused on the SEC. I've always said, look beyond the SEC. CFTC, we also have the FSB. There's major organizations out there in and around the US also preparing for regulatory, frameworks. USDT is not included on a lot of these major documents. In fact, Tether always kind of gets thrown some shade when it comes to a lot of these regulatory documents. Over here, we have Tether will be excluded from US stablecoin regulations. A 2024 investment research report confirms that upcoming US stablecoin regulations will set the groundwork for the stablecoin framework in the United States, and it will also disadvantage non-US entities like Tether. The world's largest economy by GDP has no plans to include the leading stablecoin in its regulations. Tether loyalists can ignore this warning if they wish, but doing so will be at their own risk. The era of Tether is ending, and I'm presenting the proof. Prepare accordingly. And here you have, from Signum, House View. This was from May 2024 of this year. Here we have a new stablecoin bill introduced to the US Senate in April would encourage US banks to issue stablecoins and disadvantage non-bank stablecoin issuers and non-US entities such as Tether. This is why you need to focus on the big picture. I've also talked about this when it comes to, going all the way back to Luna and FTX. A lot of these events around the space with Luna or even FTX, it accelerated the approach to regulatory frameworks and also regulatory action. It also put a spotlight on the fact that, all right, stablecoins must be focused on now. We need to do something about the stablecoin market. We can't have this just openly, trading. We can't just have anyone launch a stablecoin. We can't have, these stablecoins, be out there if they're not properly backed. And that's why when you even look at this, right, they want to also ban algorithmic stablecoins. It's because of the past events around crypto. So as we think about this, yes, Tether is still, something that I would not touch. I would not have my wealth stored in Tether. And even over here, cyber attacks. How many times have we, heard about cyber attacks in the past? For an example, here you have the World Economic Forum. This is a cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics, a cyber pandemic. Check this out.
The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken our economies and societies to the core and shown us how vulnerable we are to biological threats. In the digital world, similar risks are being overlooked right now. A cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics would spread faster and further than any biological virus. Its reproductive rate would be around 10 times greater than what we've experienced with the coronavirus. To give you an idea, one of the fastest worms in history, the 2003 Slammer sapphire worm, doubled in size approximately every 8.5 seconds, infecting over 75,000 devices in 10 minutes and almost 11 million devices in 24 hours. Fortunately, at least until now, cyber attacks have not impacted our health the way pandemics have, but the economic damages, and therefore the impact they have had on our daily lives, have been equal and sometimes even greater. You see, the only way to stop the exponential propagation of a COVID-like cyber threat is to fully disconnect the millions of vulnerable devices from one another and from the internet. All of this in a matter of days. A single day without the internet would cost our economies more than $50 billion US, and that's before considering the economic and societal damages should these devices be linked to essential services such as transport or healthcare. As the digital realm increasingly merges with our physical world, the ripple effects of cyber attacks on our safety just keep on expanding at a faster pace than what we're preparing for. COVID-19 was known as an anticipated risk. So is the digital equivalent. Let's be better prepared for that one. The time is now.
Now, they have been pushing this heavily, and when we think about this, how does it pertain to Tether? Well, here you have, cyber attacks could spell the end for Tether. A report from the European Parliamentary Research Service highlights the instability of Tether, pointing to several potential triggers for its collapse. One major threat, a large-scale cyber attack. According to the report, Tether's commercial paper holdings may exceed those of the largest money markets in the US and the EU. This is highly abnormal because money markets are tightly regulated to ensure they have more liquidity to handle redemptions. In contrast, Tether operates with little regulation while holding a massive amount of debt, raising serious concerns about its transparency, safety, and liquidity. A cyber attack could trigger mass redemptions, pushing Tether to the brink as users rush to exchanges or exchange their tokens for cash, forcing the company to prove its reserves. The possibility of Tether collapsing due to a cyber attack is especially alarming, as institutions like the IMF have ranked cyber attacks among the top 3 economic risk for 2024. A run on a global stablecoin like Tether could severely disrupt the international financial system, causing widespread negative effects. And this is documented from the European Parliamentary Research Service. This is wild to me. And here we have the biggest risk. Yes, cyber attacks are still one of the biggest risks. And we know that the IMF has been pushing this for a very long time and, saying like to prepare for this. And it's crazy because they told us to prepare for something like COVID as well, right before we got it. But here we also have the IMF officials warn cyber risks are growing. So as we think about this, there's a lot of risks to Tether. It's not just its backing, it's not just regulations, it's also cyber attacks and mass redemptions. This could also happen around a financial crisis. Doesn't have to be a cyber attack. I mean, a run on Tether would be crazy for crypto. I'm not saying that I hope for this to happen. I want it to happen. I'm just saying that, with everything that we know, with, regulations on the edge, we're right there, almost close to having the space regulated. I do think now is the best time to focus on these risks. And when we think about Ripple, right, with their stablecoin, this could not be pushed at a better time when we're so close to regulations, when we see all these major regulatory bodies putting out documents outlining the risk to Tether and, the shade thrown towards Tether side. It feels as though they're kind of opening this market up for Ripple to take over in terms of their stablecoin. And remember that this got posted on September 17th from Ripple. This outlines how their stablecoin is extremely compliant. We even have here the stablecoin market being broken down, and we have Ripple USD is purpose-built for payments, designed to maintain a constant value of $1. It is fully backed by a segregated reserve of cash and cash equivalents and is redeemable one-to-one for US dollars. It's issued on the XRP ledger and Ethereum blockchains, enabling instant payouts and easy fiat stablecoin on and off ramps for exchanges, remittances, and money transfer providers or payment service providers that want to hold, buy, and trade USD on-chain. RLUSD provides fast settlement, multi-chain issuance, and programmable finance, opening up a whole new world of use cases and revenue streams. And it's built with regulatory compliance as a defining feature, bringing with it an opportunity for developers, payment providers, exchanges, and others to benefit from the stability and transparency Ripple is uniquely able to provide. With over a decade of experience at the intersection of crypto and finance and a proven track record working with regulators and policymakers across the globe, Ripple is accelerating the digital asset economy with RLUSD. And, as we do look at stablecoin regulation, they even do outline it. It's quickly progressing across the globe from North America to Europe to Asia and more recently the UAE. So as we think about this, we have to prepare. We have to prepare because I do believe that with regulation, and I've outlined this so many times on this channel as well, it's going to wipe out all the nonsense, all the garbage, and open the door for these legitimate projects, legitimate stablecoins that are working with regulators, that are working to become compliant, that have real use case potential, have utility. It's going to open the door for those to actually start rising up in value and becoming very legitimate projects. I also think that this is when the entire space will erupt in value from enterprises, institutional use cases. I think users of crypto is going to grow significantly because we're going to start to see mass adoption flowing in by users not realizing that they're actually utilizing this technology. It's going to be, something through a UI by banks, for an example, or, enterprises. So as we really kind of think about this, yes, I do believe that regulations are going to wipe out majority of the space. And I also don't believe Tether will be around after regulations are here. And I think that that is very, very visible when it comes to Mika. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.